We are talking about rhombi and squares, and we want to recognize and apply the properties of rhombi and squares, and we want to determine whether quadrilaterals are rectangles, rhombi, or squares. So we're going to talk about 4 characteristics of a rhombus, and the first one that we're going to talk about is all 4 sides are congruent. So all 4 sides are congruent. And on my drawing, I'm going to mark all the 4 sides with 3 congruent marks, and that shows that all 4 sides are congruent. The next one we're going to say is opposite sides are parallel. So next we can mark that opposite sides are parallel. So if we put 2 parallel marks on those 2 sides, then we can put 3 over there, and that shows that those lines are parallel. The next ones we say that diagonals are perpendicular bisectors. So they're perpendicular and they are bisectors. So if they're perpendicular, that means that they form a 90-degree angle right there. And the other part that we talked about was bisector. And the perpendicular bisector means each one's cut in half. So if we put 2 congruent marks here, that means that there's 2 congruent marks here. Now they're not congruent to each other, but this one is still cut in half. So if you put 3 congruent marks there, actually let's make it 4, then we have to put 4 congruent marks there. So that's the perpendicular and bisector portion. And then each diagonal bisects a pair of opposite angles. Bisects a pair of opposite angles. So what that means is, we'll look at this drawing over here. It means that this angle was cut in half. So we can put 2 congruent marks there and 2 congruent marks there. That shows that that angle is cut in half. Well, that same angle, let's put 3 congruent marks here. The opposite angle on the other side was also cut in half. Well, these other 2 angles that are a little bit smaller, so that one's congruent to that one, and that one is congruent to that one. And those are the 4 characteristics of a rhombus.